My knee is so swollen and it feels stiff. In fact, when I bend and straighten it, it grinds and sounds like Rice Krispies. Now, if you're suffering from these symptoms, you likely have a condition called patellofemoral pain syndrome. That's where your kneecap is riding too up and out even as you go to bend and straighten your knee. What typically happens when we straighten our knee is that the kneecap goes up. That's not really the issue for most people with this condition, although it can be the case that the kneecap was already too high up, but now that you straighten it, it goes up any higher. Now, as you go to bend the knee, people with this condition, the kneecap stays up instead of going down. You'll see here that as I bend my knee, that kneecap actually travels downward. It was initially thought that the inside quad muscle was maybe a little weak, so we would strengthen this to get the pull to come more medially, but that's not actually the case. Through research, we found that it's actually the front and outside of the quad muscle that's just pulling this kneecap up and out. So we stretch it. This is the most basic of quad stretches, right? Where you're just pulling that heel up toward your butt. A lot of people end up in this position, but this is not where I want you to be. Remember, it's the outside quad muscle that's pulling on your kneecap. So if you can, try bringing that knee to the other side of the body without arching your back. Now, if I were to turn to the side, you're going to see that my right knee is now behind my left and I'm not arching my back. All right, now when I do that, I'm going to feel a crazy pull on the outside of my outside and front of my thigh. Totally normal, totally healthy, totally helpful. All right, now that will be like a pretty intense stretch for standing. So another one that you can do if you're not ready for it is just to find two chairs, get between two chairs. You can lean forward to get that leg up, just like that. I'm putting all my pressure through the left leg now to stretch the right. I'm still considering bringing my right knee over to the left and getting that right foot as far back as I can get it. After that, I rest. A lot of people will get cramps like in their gastroc or in their hamstring, but it's only because they're activating their knee. You should really get it to relax, out of sight, out of mind. From here, you can squeeze your butt and maybe even try tucking your tail in or pointing your belly button up toward the ceiling to where you can get a little bit of an anterior tilt and stretch in the front of your hip. Again, totally healthy, totally helpful. Another standing stretch that you can do, we'll say this time for the left side, so I can face this way and still have the camera. I'm going to now put my right foot here, again to stretch the left. And now I can just lean forward here to loosen up the front of my hip. The quad muscle crosses over the hip joint, so you can actually loosen up the front of the hip to take off some stiffness on the knee. Here's one for sitting. Whether you're at a dinner table or in the office typing away, you can still stretch your quad. Just be a matter of scooting your hip to the side to where this leg is now off the chair and bringing that knee directly underneath your hip. Now you should be able to shimmy that foot back and squeeze your butt to where you can feel a stretch all throughout the front of that quad. Now we finally made it to the stretches that you can do while lying down. I prefer doing these before you get out of bed or before going to bed. You're going to bring the top leg up towards your chest and bring the bottom leg behind you as far as you can get it. From here, you're going to bend that bottom leg, for me it's the right, and you're going to reach for it just like this. You might need to wrap a pillowcase, a towel, a sheet, or even a belt around your ankle if you can't reach it. But you are going to feel a very, very deep stretch in that quad muscle if you can pull this off. Now, this is everyone's favorite stretch. It's so easy to pull off. You can lie on your couch or on your bed or just with your leg off. I would just caution, just to be sure that your body is in line with the leg and not off to the side like this. You want it in line with the rest of the body. What's helpful is that you can get a heating pad to go over the top of that quad muscle to help loosen it up as well. The great thing about this stretch is you could be watching TV or movies while stretching and doing physical therapy at the same time. What can you do to stop these symptoms from coming on again? I'm going to show you a couple of postures or behaviors that I found that people do to get PFPS. These are almost guaranteed ways in which you can get this condition. If you sit or lie in bed like this, that is sitting upright with your knees straight, you are just begging for PFPS. All right, and that's because the hip is flexed and the knee is extended. That's what the quad does, right? It flexes the hip and straightens the knee. So if you're in this position for a long time, this muscle can actively shorten, right? It's already in a shortened position. It just stays there, almost to the point where, oh, stiff, oh, your body wants to stay like this because it looks so much like this. Right, so I would avoid that position. Just go ahead and put your feet down. If it helps, please try not to sit for too long. Drink a lot of water. It'll force you to get up. And if you're saying, well, I don't really sit at all anyway, you know, I'm kind of on my feet all day. Yeah, but like how? Are you like this? Because right now, my right knee is technically closer to my chest than my left. And that can allow for enough hip flexion tightness. Remember, the quad is a hip flexor. And this knee is somewhat extended depending on how far I kick this leg out. It's enough to make this quad tight and pull on that kneecap. Now, if you look close, you know, I'm pointing right at the camera, this leg is somewhat out to the side. And remember, I said it's the outside muscles that pull on that kneecap. So what if the argument is, no, I put an equal amount of pressure through both legs? That's cool, but are you standing like this? Because if I turn to the side, it kind of looks like I'm standing like a pregnant lady. That's going to get my hip to anteriorly tilt. I'm pretty much causing my quad to pull my hip down and my kneecap to be pulled up. PFPS. I'd rather you stand with the posterior tilt by just squeezing your butt and trying to get your belly button to point up toward the ceiling. I appreciate you staying and watching. If you like the content, the stretches, the detail that I go into, definitely subscribe to this channel. If you'd like to see more or like to hear more explanation or maybe different stretches that I could provide, leave a comment. I'll see what I can do. But enjoy your YouTubing.